We just need to roll anyway.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So you are tired?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm recovering.
Did you
2 days in from time change.
Did you get like a good night's sleep last night?
I did.
Yeah.
It was very good. I went to bed at 10 and woke up at like 7:30.
Yeah, that's nice.
You didn't text anybody at 5 o'clock in the morning?
No, I was asleep then.
He texted you?
still.
Oh yeah, he texted both
Text
of
us.
Yeah.
In the group. I'm like,
Yeah.
What day was that? Friday?
I finally had time to think about things.
I was up.
And so, oh, you were?
at 5?
I get up at 5, but I don't touch my phone for the first like hour of being awake.
Oh, that's good.
So, yeah, take that. I do remember seeing that, but I didn't see the time.
Oh, I saw the time because I was
timestamp.
natty night for me.
Did it go
out.
bing?
It did something, woke me up.
Oh, please. That's why you always keep your phone silent.
Yeah.
I don't think people are going to text me unless it's an emergency at 5 o'clock in the morning, but whatever.
I don't even worry about the emergency.
If I didn't text then, I would have forgot what I was going to say. So.
Yeah, you got to do it. You got to do it when you remember. Yeah, I get that. All right, boys. How we doing?
I'm hot. I thought fall was going to be here
You know
by
what?
now.
Speaking of, so I'm sitting here. We got this fancy thing. You're right. I forgot to do this. It should be because we're in October, right?
Yeah.
And we should have
It should be like high of like 70.
we should have cooler weather for sure. There's my statement.
Yeah.
for
What
sure.
What is today? Like 92?
I don't know. Yesterday was hot, man.
It's hot. Yeah.
I was.
yesterday hot, too.
I think it's like you don't want it to be either because of the time of year, so it feels worse than when it's hot in June and July and August. That was weird. But yeah, it's pretty warm, man.
So other than that, I'm good.
Yeah. Other than that, you're
Yeah,
good.
good.
Trying to
A little
rest
tired.
up,
Yeah.
catch up.
Yeah.
That's something people ask when you fly across the ocean.
Sometimes.
Man, you tired? Oh my gosh, yeah.
Been up all night.
Yeah, it is. I think I usually ask it.
I think a lot of times the worst is just because you're sitting there for so long.
Yeah, that's what
like,
I
you're just
usually
not
think.
up and moving.
It's like a road trip, right? Like you just get tired from sitting.
I don't fly. You guys don't remember this?
Yeah.
I don't get on
That's
plane.
why I said road trip. That's why I'm throwing
Yeah.
it at you and saying road trip.
But I don't road trip over the
Yeah.
ocean, so
Yeah, but you drove to Florida.
that's
It's a long way.
But on a road trip, you can still, like, when you're riding shotgun, you still get a nap in. Like,
Yeah.
when you're flying across the ocean, it's technically you're not supposed to get a nap in.
If you
so-
trust your driver.
Yeah, I drive. I'm the driver.
Yeah.
I don't usually not drive.
We swap out some, so I don't usually nap, though. But you
Yeah.
could if you're super tired, right? You could always
That's
get a
fair.
snooze
Yeah,
in.
if you it's like dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I mean, all you need is like a 20 minutes, they say.
Yeah.
Like the studies say, like, drink a cup of coffee, 20-minute nap, and then you're, like, golden for, it's like your fourth,
For the
fifth
next
win.
30 minutes.
Yeah, no. Like,
Yeah, the real quick little there is like a weirdness when you break over that, right? Like you end up getting like more tired. I forget. Like there's a weird little number to the napping minutes and
Yeah.
hours like that benefits you. Well, awesome. Well, good to see you guys. Let's jump right in. So we're going to do our top 3 and we are in the month of October. So we have Halloween approaching. And so why not talk about some evil folks in movies, even though I'm not a big horror movie guy, but we're going to talk about the top 3 movie villains of all time. We did kind of throw out this caveat of not having superhero movie villains because that's too easy, but yeah, we'll see what we all brought to the table.
yeah. I used to love horror movies when I was a kid. I haven't watched them in forever, though.
I'm out, man.
Terrible. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah,
I've
now
never liked them.
I'm with you now. But when I was a kid, I loved them.
I just never could. I just can't. I even the movies that are like real life creepy, scary, like Silence of the Lambs.
Yep.
They just stick with me. I just don't. I can't. The one I remember the most, like not like it's a good movie. It's well done, good actors, actresses. 7,
I don't know if I've seen that one.
bro.
7.
It is.
Morgan Freeman?
Yes,
Yeah,
Brad
I
Pitt.
know. Yeah.
It is
Mhm.
awful. I don't even know how somebody writes that. Like, how do you get to that space? And anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
I digress. That could be a big villain. I didn't even think about that guy. Creepy Kevin Spacey. Anyway.
All
All right, Lucas,
ready?
it's on you, buddy.
I have like 15 over here, but
Yeah, look at this.
So-
Honorable mention,
You
honorable mention.
have a ton of
No. I'm
honorable
only going
mention.
to do 3. I'm only going to do 3.
Oh.
I'm going to start off strong. Mine are kind of funny. They're all the Wet Bandits.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Harry
Dude,
and Marv from
I
Home
love it.
Alone 1 and 2.
Dude, I love
See,
that one.
That is
You
genius.
got to think outside the box here, boys.
That's good.
Think
I like
outside the
that.
box.
I like that.
Yep.
Good villains.
Harry and
Yeah.
Marv.
Yeah.
Harry and Marv.
They didn't kill anybody.
No.
So that's
No,
good.
no.
But they
No.
were just dumb, but
number,
funny.
In number 2, he tried to. He had the pistol. Just had a bunch of like
Yeah.
Grease or
turpentine.
something. Yeah, something. Yeah.
Yeah, greasy
Always
fingers.
losing to a 9-year-old.
Always
All right.
losing to 9.
Getting
That's
beat
good.
up.
That's
My
good.
kids like belly laugh to that movie when
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they
every
start
year.
getting beat up, like in Home Alone 1 and
Yeah.
2. Like they'll just fast forward it right to the good
Yeah.
part.
Every year.
Yeah,
It's great.
We crushed that movie. I don't know how many times, and it's one of the
Yep.
best. It's great.
It's good.
Good choice.
I saw that in the theater. That's how old I am. Yep.
I remember I was like in first grade
It was
when it
awesome.
came out, but yeah.
It was great. All right, my number 3 is Colonel William Tavington, and he is the bad guy in The Patriot.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't hate that guy by the end of that movie, you got problems.
I
You
hate
got
him
problems.
about 10 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
I'm not liking him. But
Like
yeah.
you want that guy to be Gonski. Like
He's a red coat. Come on now.
he's a red coat, but he's also just awful.
brutal.
And he that guy did a great job playing him. Like
Did.
he just he's bad. Anyway, we can talk about this when we're done. But yeah, go ahead. All right, Anthony.
All right. Don't judge me, but I'm thinking of the horror movies when I was a
Oh, you're
kid.
fine.
my God.
Number 3, Chucky.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude, I don't know why I love that movie. All of it. I don't know
That's
how many
the-
there are now.
That's
but
the doll, right?
yeah, the redhead doll.
Mm.
Want to play? You know, and
Yeah.
then he's like this nice innocent doll in the package, and then just like freaking just
slays
murders
everybody.
everybody. Yeah,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
comes to
Nah.
life.
I feel like that would give me nightmares at that
Yeah,
age, at a
I'm-
young age.
it probably did. I don't know why I watched them all the time. Maybe because my dad always watched them. I don't know.
You're just
or
good
what
with
he
it.
suckered me in.
Yeah. That's funny. But that's
Yeah.
definitely a villain.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. Never
We're
seen
all
it.
going to be a
I-
little
you're-
different, so this is fun.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, you
Now
guys are,
you-
like,
now you should watch
creepy.
I'm
I
not
need to-
watching
I need
that.
to change my list over here.
I watched. I've done a few scary movies, and like The Shining, man, that creeped me out. I can't. I just don't like it, man. I don't
Anymore,
like it.
no.
Yeah.
I don't watch. I don't know. I think there's something weird about them, but yeah.
All right, dude.
All
Number
right.
2.
It's a movie I watched growing up. This is a bunch of people, but Cobra Kai off the Karate
Oh.
Kids
Oh, another
movies.
solid,
Oh.
Yep.
solid.
I've got, what is it, John Kreese is
Johnny.
the main guy, and then Johnny Lawrence is the kid.
Johnny.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's good.
Stuff.
It's
Strike
great.
first, strike hard, or whatever.
At the end when he punches and
Mhm.
Mr. Miyagi dodges
Yeah.
him and he breaks the glass over his
window.
hand.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I like your movie. We went completely different on the
Yeah.
villains
Yeah, you went, like,
movies.
dark and evil,
Yeah,
and I'm
well,
like,
that's
comedy
what
over here.
that's what we used to watch. When
I
was a
think
kid.
all of us are, yeah. All right.
yep.
Well, I'm going to stick in the same vein as my first one. And this guy's got a really long name. He's got 5 names.
Oh,
Marcus Aurelius Commodus Antonius Augustus. That is Emperor Commodus in The Gladiator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. that's good stuff.
oh yeah.
And man, you really feel like he's gonna get his at the end. I mean, he's just
Mhm.
all kinds of evil, right? He wants to be with his sister. It's just
Mm-hmm.
he's gross. He's evil. He does bad things. And at the end, you think, well, Gladiator's gonna kill him, but he stabs Gladiator while he's hugging him in his lung.
Mm-hmm.
And so they, I don't mean to spoiler. It's an old movie.
It's
but
been out for 30 years. We're
They-
good.
they both die at the end. It sucks. I mean, it's a good movie and it's a good ending, but it just kind of is a bummer. But yeah.
But he
Great.
got him. I mean, he killed
Yeah,
him.
Got
at the end.
him,
He
but,
got
then,
him.
but he
Vengeance.
also got him first, so then he died right
But that's,
after that.
Yeah.
that's fine. He wanted to go.
He wanted to go
He
be with
wanted
his
to go.
wife and in
In
the
the afterworld.
weird afterworld.
Ooh.
Yeah, the weird not so there.
How long
afterworld.
is that movie? It's another one of them long movies, isn't it?
Yeah, it's back in the day when the epics, were
It's like 3-hour movies.
It probably
It's-
pushes 3.
yeah.
I don't know.
It's a great movie though.
It's great.
Yeah, it
No,
really
it's
is.
Great. It's great.
All right,
All right.
I'm sticking with the same weird dark
I
theme.
feel like I need to pray before you tell yours.
Pennywise.
Yeah.
All right, it reminds me when I was a kid. I don't know why. Freddy Krueger
Okay. All right. With his
with this big old long
his claws.
claw hands.
Yeah.
Never watched those either.
I haven't seen any of these movies. No.
Oh.
Is it just
know-
on one hand? The claws are on one hand, or both?
Nothing.
No,
what
both, I think.
Yeah, I
Both
think they
gloves.
are. Yeah.
This is I mean, these are iconic
yeah.
horror
Oh, yeah.
people. So like I know exactly. Like I picture him right in my
Yep.
head, and
With
I
his,
can
like,
picture
weird grin in his
in
face.
his striped shirt.
Yeah.
Does he ever talk, or does he just massacre the
in
innocent?
in your nightmares.
Right, there you go. No, I think he does. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
I've never. It's Friday 13th, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I've never seen those,
I think, but there's a couple of them.
and
I
I've
can't
not
remember
seen
how
Chucky.
many.
Is Jason part of that too?
Jason
The hockey mask
is
guy?
no, that's a different. I think there is a movie where it's like Jason versus Freddy though, like
Oh,
way back,
Like Alien vs Predator.
Yeah, I think they did make that.
Now I'm in on that. I
Yeah.
like the sci-fi.
I can't remember
scary.
the name of it. Maybe that's what the name of it is. Now Jason was I
feel like sci-fi
was
scary is
different.
less demonic.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're. I would never watch these movies now.
You're sitting your kids in
No,
front of
or
them.
definitely not let my kids watch them.
I
But
love it. Okay. All right, Lucas, number 1.
I feel like I should have went last this week just to end on a good note, but Shooter McGavin,
Yes.
Happy Gilmore.
I love it. That's
Shooter.
great.
Yeah.
He great.
He
yeah.
is great.
It's good. Great
Yeah, but
movie.
you cheer against him for sure, right?
Yeah,
like it's
right. It's
He's
good
just a
stuff.
jerk.
he is a jerk, man. That's a great movie.
He just loses his temper over the stupidest stuff. Like,
Yeah.
this is golf, people. We're
yeah.
like,
yeah. That's a good one.
Good one.
That's a good one, Lucas. I like
Yeah.
your list.
Yeah,
Lucas.
I do
I have
too.
an honorable mention this if we need to go
Yeah.
over it
Yeah,
later.
no,
we'll go
no,
okay,
okay,
real quick.
yeah.
Later. Let you guys. I don't want to spoil in case you guys have them.
All right, there's a World War II movie that is it is not factually based. Is that factually? Is that a
I know
word?
what you're going.
Sure, yeah. I know
Brad
what you're
Pitt
saying.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I am.
go ahead.
Yeah. So Colonel Hans Landa is
Mm-hmm.
is a SS officer in Hitler's army in the Inglorious, not a nice word, Fatherless Son it's Inglorious Fatherless Sons. It's
Yeah,
a-
Christoph Waltz, right?
Yeah, Christoph Waltz.
Yep.
It's a Tarantino movie, and he is pretty awful in this very like intelligent, smart, like not over, like he's just a very but awful villain. Like he's killing people and like or facilitating the killing of people, and in the end, even goes so far because he's just a rat. He completely wants to take care of himself. In the end, he switches sides when he sees that for immunity, he allows the operation to go forward to kill Hitler. Obviously, this is not factual. It's a fiction-based movie, and so he even does that, and then he gets his in the end, though. It's great. But he does a really good job.
He was pretty creepy in that movie.
Yeah, he does a great job as a villain. Like, you kind of like him, you kind of don't. Like, he's bad. It's just, but in the end, it's awesome. I love
Yeah.
how he gets it. But anyway, that's my
Christoph
number one.
Waltz is
He's
great.
great.
Have you
Yeah.
seen some of his other movies?
Yeah, he's great.
Django.
Yep. Django's good.
Yep.
Yeah, probably shouldn't watch that with the kids.
No.
But
But again, fantastic.
You can watch
actor.
all my movies that I'm choosing. with
Yeah.
Kids.
yeah, Lucas is definitely on the one end. Anthony's on far other. I kind of
Yeah.
in the middle. I think.
I think
Yeah.
all of your movies though are at least 2.5 hours. So that's
Yeah,
the
those
only,
are
that's
all-
the only
that's-
problem. I don't know if I
that's-
have that much time.
That's
to
a great
rewatch.
villain build. It's a lot of
Yeah.
times for him to be evil.
Kill me some Nazis.
Yeah.
Kill me some Nazis. yeah.
100 dead Nazis. Anyways.
Yeah,
All right.
it's pretty good.
All right,
Pretty
my
good.
number one, super iconic, right? Back in the 70s when I was a kid, Star Wars.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not as
Darth
dark.
Vader.
But you weren't a kid
No, not
in
in the 70s.
but the movies
But-
have transcended time.
Yes, they
for
have.
sure.
When was the first one out? What year was it?
Like 74,
Yeah,
5,
something like that.
I think one of those three came out in 80, I think.
Yep, did it.
Yeah.
But Darth Vader, dude, just iconic
oh, yeah.
villain.
Unbelievable.
You know, kid friendly. This one at least.
Yeah.
You
for the
know?
most part, yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
No, it is.
Yeah, Darth Vader he's got to be up there in like the top 3 villains of all time, I would imagine, if not the top, including all the superhero movies.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be. I can't imagine. I'm trying to think. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's up
great.
there. He's
Everybody
Red-
knows the saying, Luke,
Red
I'm
light.
your father.
yeah.
Well,
Like
even just
everyone in
his-
the universe is scared of him.
Like you
so-
can
Yeah.
recognize his outline,
Yeah,
right?
his
it's
voice.
very recognizable.
Yeah, they just it's good
Red
stuff.
lightsaber. All right, let's hear it. Let's hear your.
My honorable mentions.
Yeah, let's hear one or two of them because you never get
Yeah,
them.
you have like 15, so.
White Goodman dodgeball.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
I like Ben Stiller-esque. I love
Yeah.
that. That's great.
Bill Lumberg, Office Space.
Lumberg.
Yeah, come on now.
Oh, never mind. I won't say it. He's the.
Yeah.
They're gonna need you to come in on
Yeah.
Saturday and do
Yeah.
some TPS. Okay.
I mean, it's so
yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
They're definitely villains, but when
I love it.
when villain crosses my mind, it's not
Yeah.
these.
Yeah.
These
I love
folks.
it. I love it.
That's why we're all
I know,
different.
I
I
know.
love it.
That's great.
Yep. Then
All right.
Ivan Drago, Rocky Four.
Yeah,
of
we
course.
talked
You gotta
about
beat.
that.
Gotta beat the
But
Soviets.
even his and maybe even his wife in the movie was
was Rocky's in real life. That's his wife, Sylvester Stallone.
Sylvester Stallone's wife.
Pretty sure.
I thought he was married to. Oh no, that's
He's
Arnold
probably married
Schwarzenegger.
like 10
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
I don't know.
So the lady that was Drago's wife in the movie is actually Stallone's wife in real
You
life.
need to fact check me on that, but I
That
think
makes sense. It kind of hurts my heart a little bit, but that makes sense. But she
Yeah,
was
she
pretty
was
bad
evil.
too.
She
She
was-
was kind of pushing for the
A little scary.
do more roids.
Mhm.
You know? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think in the Creed movies, there's a storyline there, right?
There
Where
is. She comes back.
she comes back. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
Nice.
You good?
I'm good. Yeah. I don't
Okay.
watch that many movies, so I
Yeah.
forget a lot. But Lucas, I love the list.
Yeah, great list, Lucas.
Yep.
Way to bring some brevity to the situation here. I like it.
Yep.
Yeah. Some sunshine and rainbows
Yeah,
compared to
sunshine and
mine.
rainbows compared to ours over here. Yeah. All right, good stuff. Well, I guess this is kind of can lead us into what we wanted to talk about today, and is mental health. And I guess if you're being a villain and focused on the wrong things, it can definitely affect with your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about it mainly from the effects, like for men, really, mental health around men, and kind of how our world is starting to break that barrier down, where it's something that is definitely acceptable to talk about, if not almost pushed a little bit, which is good, and I'm sure there's a lot of reasons why. I didn't really dig into that. I'm sure coming out of a very long kind of a wartime type situation, and veterans dealing with kind of the getting back into society, and man, a lot of those guys spend a lot of time over in like a combat zone, and so I think that probably has something to do with it. But then even now, Lucas and I were talking a little bit earlier about how the NFL is I mean, they have organizations now and very outspoken stars that like wear the cleats with it on, and like I know Dak Prescott is one for the Dallas Cowboys, but yeah. Well, and I think
Lucas
maybe
size.
Bosa does for the Niners. Am I wrong? I can't remember.
I don't-
There's one of those guys, but anyway. Yeah. So what do you guys thoughts on mental health and kind of how we approach it? I mean, I'd like to hear how you guys deal with pressure and anxiety, and I mean, I got some notes here on like some of the ways I've dealt with it in the past, and still do in a poor manner, right? I think that's way easy, and then my word at the end we can kind of dig into what kind of the Bible says about
Yeah.
it.
Well, I think first of all, right, everybody experiences stress and anxiety, and some sort of mental health issue throughout their life, right? It's just the ups and downs of life and what it brings in the seasons that you're in. But ultimately, I feel like it's kind of how you let it affect you or not affect you is kind of the big story, and kind of staying on top of your mental health and ways to combat it. And I mean, for me especially, it's just being around other people. Social aspects help me a lot. Some other things is speaking to my spouse. I love to work out, listen to music, things like that help me cope. And just I think a lot of it's just having trusted men, right, in your lives that you can speak to more than anything else.
Sure.
And just having a group that you can trust, and not letting, and another one is just not letting your mental health like kind of build up like over and over again, where you don't have anybody to talk to, and it's just before you know it, it's controlling you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, a couple ways I get over when I'm having a bad day or bad week or whatever. I obviously read the Bible more, but praise and worship song, I know that might sound kind of corny or whatever, but I listen to two things basically. And when I'm driving in the car, talk radio, which that sometimes gives you more anxiety and mental health issues, and then praise and worship, Christian music. I listen to that quite a bit.
And this podcast.
Yeah, and this podcast, of course. Well, yeah, minus the movies over here, but yeah. No, but that's what I do to try to get out of it. So, do you have some stats for us here?
Yeah, I got some stats. It says, so this is, I have a couple of little deals on it, but it says men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide, making up nearly 80% of all suicides, which is, I mean, that's sobering. I mean, I don't know why. I never really thought much about that, but that is the sobering stat. And it says 40% of men have never spoken to anyone about their mental health.
40%?
That's what it says,
Wow.
yeah.
So I thought it might be a little bit higher than that, but I guess the older generation was probably quieter. Like our grandparents were quieter than even my dad. Probably,
I was going to say
their generation probably didn't talk much.
I would say that I still feel like there's a bit of and I have some stats around that too, like just a little bit of a stigma around it still. Like, I mean, I don't know if, and I hope I wouldn't be this with my kiddos, because I think it's a big deal. But I do think, just work hard. Let's get to it. Let's bootstraps, pull them up.
And you were talking about the veterans earlier, I think, and like our grandparents' generation, World War II. They were on a boat, a ship, a couple months to get back. Well, now these guys are fighting, and then 2 days later they're in their living rooms. I'm like,
Dump back in.
that can't be the best way we can handle
No
that.
decompression time.
No decompression. Yeah, for sure. It says 1 in 10 men experience depression or anxiety, and less than half of those seek some sort of treatment. There's some stats on like the top 3. So these are obviously polls, so it's just a portion of our population. But the top 3 causes, or the biggest causes, are work pressure, number 1, financial issues is number 2, and then their health is number 3. So, it's interesting. Yeah. I think. I mean, if I were gonna tell you like my top 3 things that probably give me anxiety, it's those 3 things for sure. And raising kids, I think, is.
I was gonna say kids.
It
wasn't on there. What was the top 3? What was it again?
It's work pressure,
financial,
health.
Like your personal health?
Yeah, probably.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think if that goes into people. Man, a lot of people are anxious about the things that are out there, right? And I think we have too much information. I think that's also a problem. I think it's probably what's driven some of the anxiety up in our culture is that we have. I think the world has always been as probably is rough, and honestly, there's a lot of stats that prove that too. That we're probably living in a safer time than it was in the 50s or 40s and 60s. I know a lot of people like to, opine about the neighborhoods and that kind of situation. But
suburbs.
Yeah, the suburbs and how like you just let your kid run around, do whatever. I think more we have more knowledge of the evil or bad things that happen. So I think that it's I think just awareness, right? Knowledge is burden, and so that burden sometimes manifests itself in anxiety, and I think that could be the same thing for kind of the health situation.
I mean, evil has always been there. You know?
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. So
when it's thrown in your face, right? Especially with the phones and the news and everything, all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, how many you hear almost daily somebody with cancer or dies with cancer or some form of that, and over time, right? That's kind of enters your mind and your process, and when's that going to happen to me? Is that going to happen to me?
Yeah.
And the same thing with your kids. I mean, when we were kids, that's how we played. We took off. We came back when it was dark. Never even once thought about it.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people let their kids do that these days?
We don't.
Because we have the information, right, that people are out there to take your kids.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to ride our bikes. I grew up in a town about 5,000 people, and friend and I would ride our bikes all over the place.
Sure.
No cell phone, nothing. Maybe a quarter to call if you needed somebody to come pick you up or something, but that was it.
Yeah.
And now, kind of let our boys start doing a little bit more as long as they're together, but not like across town. I'm talking about like just the other end of the neighborhood where I can't see them.
Yep.
But
so how do you think that the average guy copes with his mental health? Booze?
Yeah, alcohol, laziness, I think, is the one. I mean, like escape. I say laziness. I don't mean that probably an escape through. I mean, I was.
Well, it's easier to do nothing about it.
I was
going to
tell you. I was going to tell you a few things that I've done, but sure, I think alcohol for sure is a big one. I would think an escape through entertainment, whether that's sports or
whatever.
I mean, I know. I mean, that's probably the reason that pornography is such a huge deal. Is that's an escape as well, but. Yeah, I think that's it. I think binging, Netflix or whatever. I think that all those things can be escapes from your reality.
Yep.
So
why do you think 40% of men have nobody or have never mentioned their mental health to anybody, not even their spouse? That's what's kind of mind blowing, right?
Yeah, I think that it's still a thing where you. I think it's probably a thing where you try to say, well, I'm the whatever of the house. I'm a man. I'm a man.
I'm 40.
I'm 40.
20 years later, we're still close.
And they're probably scared.
You asked me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, you're good. Now I lost my train of thought.
Yeah,
You're probably
scared.
scared
No,
like to talk to your spouse or coworkers or something like that because they won't get made fun of. I mean, there's still that
you look
thing out
weak.
there.
Yeah, maybe it makes you look weak.
You think about too, like you admitting, like that you're struggling with a sin, is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard when you have to have a very close relationship. Judgment, right? Even from a spouse, can be tough. I think that's probably all what factors into that. I think it's and I do think that the stigma is starting to go away, but I still think it's there's probably part of you that doesn't even want to admit that it's a real thing because you don't want it to be true.
Yep.
Right? And do you even recognize it, right? Or the culture would tell you it's totally fine to drink after work, right? Like, or a couple of drinks or whatever, or it's totally fine to escape in all kinds of manners and not deal with reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think culture tells us that, or we've talked about this on this podcast before. The culture tells you that you can help yourself, right, and get out of it. So I think those are all things. I was going to tell you a few things that I probably I know you kind of mentioned like what you do, like worship songs and listen. I do think that meditation and trying to clear your head out of just to kind of think of something positive as opposed to the negative, and being thankful, I think is definitely helpful. I think back on some situations I've been in where people are less fortunate, and I mean it's just obvious less fortunate. Like, you know, I'm not talking like in my neighborhood where we all have about the same car, same houses, all those kind of things. I'm talking like going to third world country. I think back to those things and the happiness that people exhibited with less, and I think that that helps me kind of maybe be a little like perspective a little bit. That's not one of the only things, and I mean I've got bad things that I do here too, and one can be I've definitely turned to a couple of drinks to relax.
Oh yeah.
And I at this point in my life, it's not something I do, but there's been a time frame where it was something that, you know, man, it was a long, 12-hour day at work that was highly stressful. And yeah, I've definitely, instead of, praying and talking about it or even just moving on to the thankfulness and all those things, maybe a couple of beers before.
Yep. Well, it kind of goes with the laziness thing, right? It's so easy to
it's an escape, man.
As opposed to having intentionality with praying and spending time in God's Word or having a conversation with, a buddy or somebody to kind of help with that.
Yeah, and I'd say that it's almost like hard to even say that out loud because it's the opposite of what I would want people to think I would do.
Yep.
And so, and now, I mean, that's not something now I would do, but that's been part of my life, an escape. And then I think, man, I'm a huge sports fan. I think sometimes I can use that as an escape, just to spend way too much time watching basketball or football or whatever, right? And I'm not saying we can't have enjoyment. I just think that I could definitely. Man, there's been times where I've been like upset because my teams were doing poorly. Well, why am I so upset? Well, because it's too invested, right? It's too much of
Dallas-based teams. That's why you're upset. They're terrible.
That's fair.
You can tell your wife you got $1,000 right on this game.
Yeah, I haven't gone that far. I do wonder. That's a good one. I do wonder if that were a legal opportunity in Texas, if I would have gotten into it, because I do think that sounds fun. But yeah, what an escape, right? What a high if you win and a low if you don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are some of the things I think. Exercise, like some of the good things I do that. Exercise is one for sure. Probably used to do it a little more, but even my hobbies are wrapped into that. So like a mountain biking, and oh man, there's nothing quite like getting on a trail for an hour and a half or two, and that's all you can really think about because you're cruising around trails, rocks, all the stuff, and man, that can be very, very kind of refreshing. Help you kind of come back to focus, and that's super enjoyable. But yeah, I think exercising is, and honestly, in the stats it talks about what are some of the big things that you can do to help with anxiety. Man, exercise is always at the top of the list because it releases endorphins. It's good for your health.
Yeah. Even as simple as walking.
Absolutely. Yep.
Excuse me.
Out
just walking. Just walk around your neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's just good.
No, it's great. I think
and just clear your head. Like don't
Yeah, I like to have music on. Yeah, you just kind of clear your mind and just kind of relax a little bit.
Death metal.
Exactly. Chucky music.
We'll get into your top three.
I'm just kidding. Death metal. Raw. Yeah, no, it's funny. I love it. I do think that it's important, and even as one thing we could do probably as guys is to talk about it more. There is no doubt that we've all gone through tough things that have knocked us on our rear.
Yep.
That we probably, even though like we talk about, like, we share with our spouse, we share with friends. Man, there's some aspect of that you are not probably honest always with, right?
Correct.
About just like things you're going to try to work through or whatever. And I do think if we were a little more open about, I mean, even small things, like work's not going well, or I'm trying to go after a new job, or, I mean, there's all kinds of anxiety, man, that come on us. And
but even those things, right? That's the beauty of God, right?
Yep.
That you can still have those conversations with him, and there's no judgment. There's none of that, and you can literally pour your heart out to him, even if you don't want to your spouse or to your friends. Some of the real hidden things that are really, really tough to talk about. We can all sit there and pray and have that conversation with God, and you can feel peace after that from him, right? That only
Right.
he can give to that, and that's the beauty. And maybe some of the things we forget, that we have that door that to him always, right?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that.
All right.
So you ever heard of Paul?
A little bit.
Yeah, from the Bible.
Oh yeah, that old guy.
That old guy. So Paul wrote a letter to the Philippians, and in chapter 4, verse 6 through 7, which actually the whole 4 through 7 is pretty great for this subject, but we'll just go 6 through 7. It says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." So yeah, just kind of what you're mentioning. I mean, that's so like it's a known thing. So Paul's writing this in prison, right? And
He's always in prison.
yeah, it feels like it.
Can you imagine his mental health? Literally,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or the fear and anxiety that
Yeah.
you might have. And so really what we're talking about are those two things. We're talking about the difference in anxiety or peace, right?
Mhm.
And what Paul tells us is that really the only way to make amends with your anxiety and convert that to peace is through prayer.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's it. And prayer is going to God, right? You're going to lift up. Anxiety is horizontal. It's around us. It is not from God, right? So anxiety is another word for fear. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can tie anxiety to, but not God, right? And so
Right.
God is faithful, God is constant, and God is good. And so what Paul tells us to do is go to God in prayer, and that is the only solution for anxiety. And I love that, because for me, I don't know how many times I've tried to figure out the, even using God, the right habit, the right whatever, the right this and that, the right routine to get myself in a place where I'm, but it is truly prayer in all things we do, right? It says that. And that's the only thing that's going to combat our anxiety. And I think it sounds so simple, but it's tough,
It is, because when your mindset is not right, it's hard to clear it and want to go to God.
Absolutely. It really is.
So you kind of have that mindset of, well, I can do it myself, right? The self-help that we talked about, it'll just go away. I'll just have this beer and I'll feel better tomorrow. And that's, I'm sure everybody has experienced that, where it is hard to actually take time and be intentional and go to God and let him have those things.
Yeah. I think our focus is just too easily controlled by the bad stuff. Like it just is. And I mean, we talked about like our knowledge we have now and the evil and the way we get pushed in that direction, but I think it's just that's too easy. To get wrapped up in that. So for you to make the effort to focus on God, that's automatically going to lift you up. And then, he tells us how to do it. You come with thanksgiving. So when you come with thanksgiving, you're going to think about the things God has done for you, right? And we talked about a little bit about that this morning, but you're going to think about the past and like what you've maybe come out of or gone through, or the things that God has provided. And when you think about those things, man, that is hard to stay bitter, right? It is really hard to stay in a negative kind of focus. And so I think, those are, there's like cliche verses for anxiety and mental health. I think it's ones you probably have heard a ton, and it's also in context of Paul's situation. Like, he's facing death, right? Like, this is what we're looking at. And I think, but it doesn't change the fact that it is great stuff and great little blueprint of how to pull away from anxiety. And so, that's my challenge, man, for this week is, all of those of you listening, and of course you two guys and myself, like, let's take our anxiety to God in prayer. Go to prayer, go to him in prayer with thanksgiving for the things he has done for you, and then ask him to take away the things that are, maybe not take them physically away, but take away the anxiety, right?
Yep.
And it says you will have peace that passes understanding. We cannot understand why, but we will have a peace. And I've experienced that. And so I can speak from that space for sure. And obviously, Paul was doing that, and I think, that's what I got.
It's
I
good.
love it.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
yeah.
Yep.
Look at that.
God's word does amazing things.
Unbelievable.
Man,
Unbelievable.
It
Yep.
is amazing.
Yep. It really is. I mean, it's our compass, right?
Yeah.
Yep, for
I
sure.
think a couple of years ago in my journal on my birthday, I do what's the one thing you learned of the last year, and that was one of them. I think it was like 2 years ago. I really learned how powerful God's word really is when you sit down, take the time, be quiet, and just read His word. It brings almost instantaneous peace over you, and then you add in prayer on top of that, and it's just it's magic. It's you can't explain what God's word really does. It's incredible.
That's what I tell my kids. It's magic. I'm just kidding.
They haven't
That's good
believed you
stuff.
yet, though, have
Yeah.
they?
yeah, that's good stuff. Awesome. Well, anything else?
I'm good.
You good, Lucas?
I'm good.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
Man, all right. Well, awesome. We'll do it again next time. Talk to y'all later.